All right, the next resource that I want to talk about comes from Caffeinated Classroom, and the website is Quizalize. So if you use Kahoot, you use Quizizz, you use Quizlet, all of these things together, they kind of all are very similar. So if you're working with Kahoot and Quizizz, Quizalize is going to seem very, very familiar for you. So you can see once you log in to the website, it brings you to a space where you can look at other teachers' games that they have made or their assignments that they've made for students. So you can click on that assignment here. You can play the quiz specifically. You can edit the questions, so as soon as you edit the questions, then it becomes a resource for you. You can choose to start a game in class, so again, like Kahoot or Quizizz. You can share the link. You can even print a bubble sheet for kids, so if maybe a kid doesn't have their Chromebook or their iPad with them, you can just print out a hard copy worksheet for them. You can also assign it as homework like you can do in Kahoot and in Quizizz. So if I choose edit the questions, you can see here when I click edit the questions, boom, here are all of the questions, and now I can choose to change this any way that I like. So right now it is set to Florida Social Studies Standards for grade 7. I can align this quiz to a standard or a topic. Unfortunately, Minnesota is not available. You do have the Common Core if that's something that you would like to work off of, but Minnesota is not available specifically in the standards. There are quite a few states that are available, so you can look through these and see if there's one that you want to specifically align to, or you don't necessarily have to align to that standard either. So you can see when you go into the question, you have multiple options here. You can choose to move the question up or down. You can duplicate the question. You can add different incorrect choices. You can provide an explanation. You can give a subtopic as an explanation. You can choose the duration of the question. You can choose whether to turn on math mode. And so if you choose to do that, then math mode actually activates and allows you to write complex equations. So that's kind of nifty. I'm going to turn that off. You can use images within your question. So if you want students to specifically answer the question based on an image, you can do that. You can insert audio, so you can record your voice if you want to add that as an option in your question, or you can do the text-to-speech here. So by activating this option, your students will be able to have your questions and answer choices read aloud by their computer or mobile device. So many cool options that I haven't seen in some of the other online platforms. So pretty cool. So I'm going to just save this to my library. So you can see here in my library, I have some choices to work off of, and I can choose the 3 dots in the corner. And from these 3 dots, again, I have some choices from which to work with. I can do a student preview. So this is what it looks like from the student perspective. So I can answer the questions. I get it right. It took me no time at all. Another option here is I can just share the link. I can choose to assign it. So I can play in class, assign as homework, or assign as an exam. So some of my choices are scheduled for later. I have the mastery mode, so the quiz will only end when all answers are correct. Use music and sounds. I can turn that off. I can turn off the timer. I can choose how many questions I want. I can randomize the questions. And then I can allow students to see their results. I can provide feedback. I can show the correct answer. Or I can also allow students to capture their work with the camera and upload that specifically. So if I want them to working on an outside worksheet, or maybe you provide a PDF that they have to print off and resubmit that through an image, then you have that option to do that as well. So one really cool thing specifically about Quizalize is if I want to create a new quiz, I go in here and I can add new questions. So you can see here, just simply add new questions. We've already seen those, the way that we add questions that way. But one thing that it has is you can import questions from a spreadsheet. So if you already have those available for you, you can use the spreadsheet option, or you can import from Quizlet. So if I click on this import from Quizlet, I can choose my question type, so multiple choice, scrambled answers, or free text entry. And if I go over to Quizlet and I find a question, or I find a set of cards that are available on Quizlet, and I choose the little 3 dots here in the corner, I can choose to export. And then here are all of my options, and I can copy the text. Then I can go back here to Quizalize, and I can paste my text in here, and I can submit. and then it automatically populates all of my questions for me. You would have to go through and change the duration and any of this other information that you wanted to add in correct answers or answer explanations, but it does provide a quiz immediately for me based on the things that you would find in Quizlet. So just another route for you to go through if you are in Quizalize and want to make a quiz quickly. So a couple of other things that I want to talk about with regard to Quizalize is if I go into my activity list, because I have one activity already going, I can actually analyze the results. So you can see here, as students are specifically playing your activity, you can see who maybe needs help. So I can do the show me. So this will see who needs help and what I need help with. So it'll show exactly what happened with the student and what they answered and how quickly that they answered and how many points they specifically have. And you can also see then here the average score for your exam. So much like Quizizz, you'll be able to see how students are doing in real time on the quiz. Secondly, when you have a resource that you are assigning to students and you turn on mastery mode, and when you turn on mastery mode and you actually click the assign activity, down here it will show you what happens to the students, and you have to decide specifically what you are going to do for the students to help differentiate based on that information. So if students score less than 50%, what are you going to do? Are you going to assign another Quizalize? Are you going to provide them a YouTube video, a PDF link, or a website link? If they score between 50 and 80%, what are you going to do? So it also gives you some options for different resources that other teachers have found that are helpful for students. And same here, 2 resources used by other teachers found if they score between 50 and 80%. So you choose how you want students to proceed as you are working through when you actually set up the assignment for mastery.